Hi, this is Kamo from Kamo's Therapy, Scripture from the Street. We're going to be going back over the scripture, Romans 8, chapter 35 through 39. Romans 8, chapter 35 through 39. And we are going to continue on the subject, persuaded or separated. Which one are you? Okay, I said a lot of stuff before, but I'm going to read it again because I have it in different versions of it. Last time we heard it in the amplified version, and I want to read to you the New American Standard, the NIV version of it. And it says, who will separate us from the love of Christ? Who will separate us from the love of Christ? When I think about that, you got family, you got friends, you got acquaintances, you have all these different people that are coming toward you. And either they're going to make your life better or they're going to make your life shorter. And I see it when he says right here, but he said, God, who will separate us from the love of Christ is the first question. Who will separate us from the love of Christ? And it starts to tell you, will tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? But the perfect question is, which is the one who, it says, excuse me right quick. It says, who will separate us from the love of Christ? And it says all these things. And then there's a big sign that goes, and it sticks out as far as what Paul wanted us to know, where he says, for your sake, we are being put to death all day long. We are considered as sheep to be slaughtered. And I'm thinking, man, every time I step out of the door, every time I could go to the grocery store, I could be going to visit a friend. This gets deep because it says right here, it says, uh, who will separate us from the love of Christ? And I be thinking, I was at the barber shop getting my hair cut. And I'm thinking all these people got people that they associate with. I have people I associate with. But it's saying, it said after that, it says, who will separate from the love of Christ? And it says, will tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword, just as it is written. For your sake, we are being put to death all day long. We are considered a sheep to be slaughtered. And when I thought about that, if to be saved for Christ, you literally, I hate to put it like this, but you usually basically what you're doing is you're putting your life on the line with this. When you say you're saved and you're gonna meet all these different people, and it seems you make one move like this, like I'm making, and all these doors start opening up. I seen the guy that used to try to manage me back in the day. I seen him at the barbershop today. He was riding on the bicycle, and he came straight up into the barbershop, and we hadn't seen each other in years. And he started telling me all the stuff that was going on, all the stuff that we used to do, and he said he still want to do it, but he don't want to be laughed at. He talk about he got laughed at and stuff like that, and it was just crazy. On a Thursday, I'm running into him. He be coming there all the time. He came in there today, and then a buddy of one of the barbershops, one of the guys at the barbershop named TJ, his cousin came in there to get a haircut right quick and said, whatever, it says, wherever there's opportunity, there's placement. And so I started to think that hard, that we go to our 9 to 5s, people got their own jobs, people are have their own jobs, like self-employed is what I want to say. But this is real. It got too so real for me. I started looking around, and everybody was making these moves, and some good, some bad, and it's just like once you get saved, it's like you thrown in the sea to try to survive everything that's coming at you, because when the enemy doesn't work on one side, he's going to come to you on another side and another side and another side. Before you know it, if you don't make the right decisions, it could be detrimental to your health. I'm not saying you're going to die or anything like that, but what I'm saying is the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. So, and I'll tell y'all, a while back, I can't remember what year it was. I don't know what I was doing at the time, but the Lord almost called me home. And I didn't know that I was even one. Death can be real simple. Like 1 minute you're here, next minute you're gone. And some people die in slow ways, cancer or diabetes or something. They had to take a foot or a leg or something like that. But what I'm saying is you have to be. I used to have this message called tried, tested, and approved. What you see on those commercials that are coming out with new things, and they tell you at the end of the commercial, this product has been tried, tested, and approved. And I think if you can go through all this, if you go through the tribulation, the distress, the persecution, or the famine, or the nakedness, or peril, or sword, there's so much, and then it comes out and says, "For your sake we are being put to death all day long. We were considered as sheep to the slaughter." But it says, "But in all these things we overwhelmingly conquered through him who loved us." Right. So it's basically saying, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And when you think about that you're gonna need that rock that God gives you. You feel like okay, the devil can take an ice pick. I see my dad make ice because we had we had an Arctic blast that happened. People lost power, people lost water, and my dad, before we got the water bottles, was taking the tub water. Well, I'm trying to make tub water, or trying to keep the pipes running without turning it all the way off, and we was using it to heat up and to get ready to either fix something to eat or something or whatever. I said that because the process he didn't even trust in the ice that come out the ice dispenser. So we getting the water from the tub and we putting it in the boil it for a little bit and then put it in the ice maker. And he was chopping that ice up with a first he put water over it, hot water over it, and then he got a ice pick, and he put it in the middle of the ice and started cracking that thing up. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm making ice. I made ice. So you need some ice?" But it was just the procedure that he went through about making the ice, and I'm like, "Look at that." And I thought about people who have done everything in the world to make their lives better. People are depressed. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And people are bipolar, and I think that in a way that all of us in this world have a little bipolar in them. I just believe that. I don't believe that, like, you're looking at a guy that was on the morning show, Ricky Smiley and all that, but you don't understand. I felt like somebody's heart could be so hard that they can be freed by the love of God, where the devil has built up all these parameters around your heart, and God just takes that ice pick and he starts breaking it down. It don't feel good. The ice can't talk, but I be thinking that somebody's heart is crevice in that ice, and Jesus' love comes in and you start hitting that ice and start breaking that ice all the way around until there's ice everywhere, and then you go on with use your ice and make your water. But that's the best. That is the best story I could come up with about how I feel, because I'm sitting up here doing this on my own now, and I just believe that God is not finished with you yet. If you can hear me, I said God ain't through with you yet. Because if something was wrong with me. I don't know. I cannot remember what was going on and what I did. But less than you know it, I was in the bed, woke up with a trachea down in my throat and tubes everywhere. And people coming to the hospital looking at me. And they said that I died twice. And well, you're dead twice, and they had to resuscitate you. Now you know what's resuscitate mean, right? So, but I still can't remember what I was doing. But I know I was running, and the Lord had to put me in the hospital. And it felt like I died because I had a long, long dream while I was in the hospital. And the dream was, you know what? I'll tell y'all on the next show. Thank you for tuning in to Kmo's Therapy, Scripture from the Street. We're going to still come from this scripture, but I'm going to start off by telling you what happened to me as far as me coming off the respirators and how they had to get me back into to walking and talking and all this stuff, and people that came to visit and stuff. I want to get into that with you, and we're going to talk about depression, and we're going to talk about bipolar just a little bit, because I have a lot to say, but I want to make sure that I don't run too fast, because I don't want to get to a point where I'm not feeding you. But all I gotta say is that if you're running, I'm gonna tell you about my dream. And if you're running, if God has to, He'll put you to sleep. Yes, I said that. If God has to, He'll put you to sleep. But that's not the type of God I serve. But I want to talk about running. Some of y'all are running from your calling, and and it's like you're getting it close. The more you fight what it is that God is trying to say, the more that the devil seems to be boxing you in until you get to like a Jack in the Box. You know, a Jack in the Box. You know what Jack did? They had to when they rolled the Jack. When I rolled the Jack up and it pops out of a box. That's how the enemy is. So until next time, this is subscribe. Yeah, subscribe to the link on the bottom of your screen if you like what you're hearing, and we'll be back with another episode pretty soon. So subscribe. All right, thank you.